Hi, I'm Natasha Wilson. I'm the executive editor for the Harlequin Teen program, and today I'm very proud to be sitting down to chat with Alexandra Adornetto, who is best known for her New York Times and internationally best-selling series, The Halo Trilogy. But today we are here to talk about her first book with Harlequin Teen, Ghost House. It is the first book of the Ghost House saga. Hi, Allie.
Hi.
So, you began your writing career at a very young age. Tell us about your publishing background and what inspired you to start writing. How did this all come about?
I'd have to say that I sort of fell into writing, and the career happened by accident. I was 13 when I wrote my first book, and I did it almost purely for fun. Actually, no, purely for fun, as 13-year-olds do. And I was on summer vacation, and eventually I sent it into HarperCollins, and I didn't hear back from them for a really long time, maybe like 24 weeks, and I had totally given up any hope of hearing from them.
Okay, I laugh because in publishing, that's actually not a really long time.
Really? It felt like forever for me. I was checking
happens.
the post every day, and then eventually I was like, well, it's never going to happen. And then they called me up and wanted to make it a trilogy, and I just ended up writing another trilogy and then another trilogy after that. So I guess I never stopped. But
Fabulous. Well, we're very glad.
me too.
So your first title for Harlequin Teen is the beginning of a beautiful and romantic and eerie new trilogy. Tell us a bit about Ghost House and where you got the idea for this series.
Okay. I have always been fascinated by the supernatural. Obviously, that's sort of a running theme in my novels.
Yes.
And when I was a child, I always used to think that I could see ghosts. So I would freak my parents out by, sitting at the dinner table and being like, "Oh, hey, Mom, there's a guy in the corner," and she'd be like, "Okay, honey, should we take her to see a therapist?" And I guess I was just a weird kid.
Right.
So Chloe, the protagonist in Ghost House, has the ability to see the dead. And I traveled to England recently and visited all these amazing old buildings, and you can really just feel like the history as soon as you walk in. And people that had lived there before, and they feel, in some places you could feel
A little chill.
something, a little chill, a little
haunted,
tingle, like, oh,
something
that's
in the air.
something a bit weird there. So that kind
Yep.
of really inspired me to write the novel.
Oh, fantastic. I'm very glad she did. So your heroine, Chloe Kennedy, is a modern-day teen.
She is.
And the hero of Ghost House, Alex, is a 157-year-old ghost.
Bit of an age difference.
Yeah, and he lived 157 years in the past. So why is it that they are still able to connect and come to understand each other? How did you make that dynamic work?
Well, I suppose the message of it is that love can transcend time and barriers of time. But I think they're sort of drawn to one another because they're so different. So Chloe is this modern, gritty kind of California girl who's, grown up in LA. And Alex is a gentleman. So he's kind of like a Mr. Darcy kind of character, except dead. And she is so curious about him, and he's curious about her, because neither one of them really understand the world that the other one inhabits, but want to know more about it. So that brings them together.
What do you think makes characters in your books so strong and credible?
I think I like to draw from my own experience, my own life experiences, and also people that I come into contact with in my own life. So I never take a person that I meet and base a character on them entirely, but there's always little elements, little kind of quirks or idiosyncrasies, or even just like something that someone has a habit of doing unconsciously that might end up in a book. We don't tell them about it. But
Gives it that touch of authenticity.
I think so, and it rings true, for me at least.
Absolutely. So you were born in Australia and lived there as a young girl, and then you've more recently moved to California. How do you think living in different places has influenced your storytelling and what you bring to setting and your understanding of different places that your characters live?
I think it's made a huge difference. I moved from Australia to Oxford, Mississippi, and went to Ole Miss, where the last two books in the Halo series were set in the South.
How old were you when you did move there?
I started traveling back and forth when I was about 14, 15. Mm-hmm. So I would spend some time there, some time in Australia, and then I moved permanently for college. And it was amazing because it was the culturally so different. Yeah. So, which can't help but feed into your work. And I guess I do tend to write from where I am based at the time. So Chloe's from California, which is nice because each character gives them their own sort of distinctive personality, influenced by where they've grown up.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. Well, tell us a little about your writing process. When you do come up with an idea, like how do you get started, and what's your typical like writing day schedule? How does it work for you as an artistic writer?
When I wrote my first book, I literally just poured it all out in one go without any structure whatsoever. I was just like, wow, here you go, which made for an extensive editing process, which wasn't so much fun. So I've sort of learned to structure my work a little more carefully. So I would say that before I start writing, I do like a chapter by chapter breakdown, and it's not too in depth. It's sort of a loose outline because I like to leave room for changes. And
sometimes the characters go a different direction.
They want to do something different that you didn't plan. But I kind of know, like dot points, what I want to happen in each chapter, so that when I sit down to write it, I'm not directionless. So I have somewhere. I know.
And do you find that you tend to write at a certain time of day for a certain amount of time, or is it just whenever it comes?
I'm a night writer. I'm a late night writer. I'm not a morning person. So people shouldn't really talk to me at all in the morning. So I need time. I need coffee. And then at night, sometimes it really depends. Maybe it could be like midnight or even sometimes 3 a.m. I'm like, ooh, I know what I want to happen, and then I have to sit down and write it. Although that's not really feasible for a whole novel. Sometimes you just make time. You just go in the afternoon or even in the morning. Sometimes you just allot a couple of hours to working on it, because otherwise you wouldn't get much done.
So I know writing is a tough job, and it's almost a full-time job, but you also need breaks from writing, and you have a lot of other very interesting things going on. What do you like to do when you aren't actually sitting down and writing a story?
Well, I live in Hollywood at the moment, so I'm exploring a lot of things to do with that industry and the entertainment industry, script writing and acting, and it's so much fun. And really, I guess it's all creative, writing and acting and all of those things.
Absolutely.
So I'm working on a couple of film scripts, which is completely different to writing a novel. In a novel, it's like, put all the description you want. In a film script, it's like, say it in a sentence. So that's probably
very good practice for dialogue too, right? Yeah.
There you go.
You gotta really focus that
It
dialogue.
is, yeah. So it's a lot of fun, and I always like to try different things, explore.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, just to finish up, I would love to hear you tell us all about what you're doing next after Ghost House.
Okay. Well, at the moment, I'm working on a couple of things. Primarily Ghost Hour, which is book 2.
Very excited to see this one too.
She hasn't seen any of it yet.
Haven't seen a word.
Not a word.
Can't wait.
Shh, there are no words yet. No, I'm just kidding.
Don't tell me that.
They're there. This is sort of different because it's the ghost this time has followed Chloe. So she went to him in England, and this time he has come to her in California. So he's in the modern world, which is going to be very new for him.
Kind of a shock.
And I won't say too much, but Ghost Hour sort of refers to they can't just spend all the time they want together. So there's only a limited window of opportunity for them to interact, which makes things difficult and creates
probably
some tension.
Very intense.
Very intense. So they're going to run into some complications. And other than that, I'm working on a project that is not supernatural. My first novel that has nothing to do with the supernatural. So
excellent.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm enjoying it.
Fantastic. Well, I can't wait to see it. And thank you, Allie, for sitting down and letting me grill you today. It's been really fun.
You're welcome.
She's a wonderful person to work with, and we could not be more proud to have her be part of Harlequin Teen. Thank you.